Hello everyone. So in the last lecture we started solutions, and in that I told you different types of solution: homogeneous solution, heterogeneous solution, true solution, colloidal solution. We discussed 9 different types of true solutions, like by keeping solid state constant so as solute, and we have taken different solvents. So solid in solid, solid in liquid, solid in gas. Similarly, liquid in solid, liquid in liquid, and liquid in gas. And next three: gas in liquid, gas in solid, and gas in gas. After that we studied saturated and unsaturated and supersaturated solution. Saturated, unsaturated, and supersaturated solution. Okay. Now, and factors affecting solubility of gas in water, that also in solvent, that also we discussed. Based on that, there was one law, Henry's law. So that also we studied. S is equal to Kp. Solubility is directly proportional to the pressure applied on that solution, applied over that solution. Okay. Today we will discuss another point, that is vapor pressure, and for this vapor pressure again we have to study one law, that is Raoult's law. Everybody knows what is vapor pressure. So, already we have discussed this in 11th standard. One more time I'll tell you. Suppose this is one container, closed container, and it contains two volatile components in it, A1 and A2. Both are volatile in nature. Both are volatile in nature. Both are volatile means what? Both are evaporated. Both are evaporated. Vapor cannot escape because it is closed vessel. Vapor cannot escape because vessel is closed. Okay. And what will happen? So rate of evaporation will be higher in the beginning. Okay. This vapor will try to push that piston in the upward direction, but they are not energetic that they can push that piston in the upward direction. So they lose their energy in pushing that piston and they come back to liquid state. So they are condensed. So condensation and evaporation takes place. One stage comes when rate of condensation and evaporation becomes equal. Both the rates become equal. That is called as equilibrium state. That is called as equilibrium state. So at that equilibrium state, whatever pressure is exerted by vapor on the liquid, that is known as vapor pressure of that liquid. Clear this concept? Vapor pressure. Pressure exerted by vapor in equilibrium. Equilibrium means rate of evaporation and rate of condensation is same. Okay. Now see what is Raoult's law. Okay. So what is Raoult's law? Raoult's law states that suppose two components are there, A1 and A2. I said both are volatile substances. So vapor of both the substances are present over that liquid. So vapors of both the substances are exerting pressure. What is the pressure exerted by component A1 and what is the pressure exerted by component A2? Say pressure exerted by A1 is P1 and pressure exerted by A2 is P2. Okay. Its mole fraction is X1, its mole fraction is X2, and when we take pure A, when we take pure A1 and when we take pure A2, when we take pure A1 and pure A2, then pressure of this is P01 and P02. Whenever there is no mixture, individual substance is there, that time its pressure is P01 and its pressure is P02. Is this clear? Whatever I have written here, A1 and A2 both are volatile components. This is partial pressure exerted by A1. Partial pressure exerted by A2 is equal to P2. Mole fraction of A1 in the solution. In solution, how many mole? What is the mole fraction of A1? It is X1. Mole fraction of A2 in the solution is X2. What is the vapor pressure of pure component A1? Here we have taken mixture. When only A1 is there, volatile component is there, it also exerts some pressure on its surface, right? So this pressure is constant, fixed, it is P01. A2 is also volatile, taken singly, alone, it also exerts pressure, and that pressure exerted is P02, not indicate standard condition. Okay, means pure component. This is the vapor pressure of pure component, vapor pressure of pure component. This is partial pressure, pressure in the mixture. So according to this law, partial pressure exerted by any volatile component is the product of its mole fraction and vapor pressure in the pure form. So mathematically we can write P1 is equal to P01 x1 and P2 is equal to P02 x2. Okay. So what is the meaning of this? This is pressure exerted by A1. So pressure exerted by any volatile component. Okay. We call it as partial pressure. Okay. So what is the statement given? The partial vapor pressure of any volatile component is the product of vapor pressure of that component in the pure form and its mole fraction in the solution. Is this clear? Very important, very important. Raoult's law. We have to find the total pressure exerted by both the components. So we can write total pressure is equal to P1 plus P2. Total pressure is equal to P1 plus P2. What is the value of P1? It is P01 x1 plus P02 x2. Okay, and we studied last year sum of the mole fractions is always equal to 1, means x1 and x2 is equal. This is P or PT. Total pressure is PT or simply P. Since what do we know? x1 plus x2 is equal to 1. Sum of mole fractions is always equal to 1. So we can write x1 is equal to 1 minus x2. Put this value in this equation. So we get P is equal to P01. What is value of x1? It is 1 minus x2 plus P02 x2. Open the bracket. What do we get? See, P01 minus P01 x2 plus P02 x2. Now we can take x2 common. So we can write this as P02 minus P01 x2, right? This is positive. So I have written it in the beginning. P02 minus P01 x2 plus P01. Okay. This is the total pressure exerted by both volatile components. Okay. Based on this we have to solve numericals. So remember this formula. What is it? Total pressure exerted by two volatile components is P02 minus P01 into x2 plus P01. Okay. Now one more thing, extension of this. Many times they ask what is the mole fraction of that component present in the vapor phase. X1 and X2 is mole fraction present in solution. Means A1 has mole fraction X1 and A2 has mole fraction X2 in liquid state, in solution state. Now they are converted into vapor state. So some vapors of A1 are there, some vapors of A2 are there. So what is the mole fraction of A1 in the vapor phase? What is the mole fraction of A2 in the vapor phase? Means A1 and A2 are in the vapor phase, means they are behaving as gas. So to calculate mole fraction in the vapor phase, we have to use Dalton's law of partial pressure. Dalton's law of partial pressure. We studied that partial pressure of any component. Partial pressure of any component is mole fraction into total pressure. Now mole fraction in the solution is denoted as X. So mole fraction in the vapor state we will denote it as Y. So this is in solution. In solution. And mole fraction in vapor state. In vapor state, its mole fraction will be equal to Y1 and its mole fraction will be equal to Y2. So we can say that according to partial pressure, according to Dalton's law of partial pressure, Y1 is equal to, or partial pressure of any component, partial pressure of any component is mole fraction of that component in the vapor phase into total pressure, or simply we can write P. So, and for second substance, P2 is equal to Y2 into P, or in short we can write mole fraction is equal to P1 upon P, P1 upon P, or Y2 is equal to P2 upon P. Okay, so this is according to Dalton's law of partial pressure. Partial pressure of any component is the product of mole fraction and total pressure, Is this clear? What is meant by Raoult's law? So in MCQs they ask what is the mole fraction in the solution, what is the mole fraction in the vapor state. You got the difference? What is x1, x2 and y1, y2? x1, x2 are mole fractions of a1, a2 in liquid state. Okay? And y1, y2 are mole fractions of a1 and a2 in vapor state. Okay? One more time I'll tell you. See. Here we have considered a mixture of two volatile components A1 and A2. Both are volatile, both are converted into vapor phase. So, some pressure is exerted due to A1, some pressure is exerted due to A2. Pressure exerted due to A1 is P1 and pressure exerted due to A2 is P2. Mole fraction of A1 in the solution is X1 and mole fraction of A2 in the solution is X2. When A1 is taken in the pure form, no contamination, no mixing with other solutions, whenever it is alone, that time pressure exerted by A1 is P01 and vapor pressure of pure A2 is P02, and Y1 and Y2 are mole fractions of A1 and A2 in vapor phase. Okay. Raoult's law states that partial pressure of any volatile component is obtained by multiplying mole fraction of a substance to vapor pressure of that component in the pure form, or partial pressure of any component is the product of mole fraction of that substance and its vapor pressure in the pure form. So P1 is equal to P01 x1 and P2 is equal to P02 x2. We have to find the total pressure exerted by both the components on that liquid. So total pressure is P is equal to P1 plus P2. Put the values P01 x1 plus P02 x2. Therefore, and what do we know? Last year we studied different definitions, different concentration definitions. One of them is mole fraction. So sum of all mole fractions is always equal to unity, is equal to 1. So x1 plus x2 is equal to 1. Therefore x1 is equal to 1 minus x2. So replace this x1 by 1 minus x2. So we get P is equal to P01. x1 is replaced by 1 minus x2 plus P02 x2. Open the bracket, multiplied by P01. P01 minus P01 x2 plus P02 x2. x2 is common, so x2 is taken common. So equation becomes P02 minus P01 into x2 plus P01. This is total pressure. Okay, and now here I explain mole fraction in vapor phase. Mole fraction in vapor phase. So mole fraction in vapor phase is denoted as Y1 and Y2. So to calculate this we have used Dalton's law of partial pressure. So according to Dalton's law of partial pressure of any component is the product of mole fraction of that component into total pressure. Okay, partial pressure means Y1 is equal to P1 upon P, or P2 is equal to Y2 into P. So mole fraction in the vapor phase is determined with the help of Dalton's law of partial pressure. Clear this concept? Okay, Rod's law. This formula is important and these two formulae are important. Also this one, P1 is equal to P01 x1 or P2 is equal to P02 x2. Is this clear? Rod's law. And one more small point we will discuss, that is ideal and non-ideal solution. Okay, very important. And this is new point, many MCQs for JNET papers. So what is meant by ideal and non-ideal solution? It's like ideal gas and real gas, which we studied last year. Okay, in the same way, here we have to study ideal behavior of solution. So one term, that is ideal solution, and other one is non-ideal solution, means how that solution should be. So there are some properties of solution. What are these properties? See, what is meant by ideal solution? What is meant by ideal gas? We studied last year. Ideal gas obeys all the gas laws, Charles law, Boyle's law, at any temperature and pressure. So here, which is the law for solution? Rod's law. So Rod's law is studied by that solution at any temperature and pressure. Such solution is called as ideal solution. Ideal solution. So what are the characteristics of ideal solution? Just now I say, obeys Rod's law. Okay, it obeys Rod's law. It obeys R-A-O-U-L-T. Rod's law. It obeys Rod's law at any temperature. It obeys Rod's law at any condition of temperature. Okay, over entire range of concentration. Whatever is the concentration. Okay, it obeys Rod's law at any concentration of that solution. Okay, second one, suppose if we mix two solutions together, okay, then what is found? Delta H of mixing is 0. Is it possible practically? Not at all. That's why it's ideal solution, right? If we mix two solutions together, then definitely there is some change in the heat content. Some energy is lost or some energy is gained by that system. So energy change takes place in reality. But what is standard thing? When two solutions are mixed together, then there is, if delta H, if enthalpy change, if energy is not changing, means that mixture, that solution is ideal solution. That solution is ideal solution. One more thing they have given. One more thing is given. That is delta H of mixing is 0, enthalpy is 0. Delta V is also equal to 0. Delta V means what? Change in volume. Is it possible? One solution is 100 ml, another solution is 100 ml, and if we mix them together, then volume will remain as 100 ml. Is it so? No. But it is said that volume remains the same. Okay, that's the ideal solution. So if two solutions are mixed together, total volume remains constant, it doesn't change. So volume remains constant. One more thing is given. What is it? That is solute-solute interaction. Solute-solute interaction. Then solvent-solvent interaction. Solvent-solvent interaction. And solute-solvent interaction. Solute-solvent interaction are comparable. Comparable means they are nearly equal. They are comparable. So these interactions between two solute particles, two solvent particles, one solute and one solvent particles are comparable. Okay, are comparable. So these are few properties. One more thing, that is vapor pressure of that mixture. So vapor pressure of mixture is between two vapor pressures of these components. Mixture is between two vapor pressures. Between two vapor pressure of components. Example given is mixture of benzene and toluene. Okay, Again, with the help of this, I will explain you all the points. Benzene and toluene. It means that like substances, they form ideal solution. Remember this. Hexane and heptane mixed together. All are hydrocarbon, alkanes. So they are mixed together. They form ideal solution. Okay. And different substances means they are non-ideal solutions. So benzene and toluene, aromatic substances, hydrocarbons. So they together form ideal solution. What does it mean? It's this mixture is ideal. It means that they obey Raoult's law at any concentration of benzene and toluene. Okay. Second, if we mix this together, there is no energy change. If we mix them together, volume remains constant. If we mix them together, benzene interaction, toluene interaction, benzene interaction is same. Got this point? And here vapor pressure of mixture is between two vapor pressure. Suppose vapor pressure of benzene, suppose, just to clear your concept, I don't know what is the actual value. Suppose vapor pressure of benzene is 70 torr and vapor pressure of toluene is 90 torr. So vapor pressure of their mixture will be between 70 and 90. Got this point? So vapor pressure of the mixture is between two vapor pressures. Okay. So this is what ideal solution. But all solutions are not ideal. They show deviation from ideal behavior. So the solutions which show deviation from ideal behavior are called as non-ideal solution. Non-ideal solution. So of course these are the properties not given in our text, but these are the properties. Delta H of mixing is not zero for non-ideal solution. Delta V of mixing is not zero for non-ideal solution. And they obey Raoult's law? No, they do not obey. They do not obey Raoult's law over entire range of concentration. So what are the properties? So Raoult's law is not obeyed over entire range of concentration. What else? Delta H of mixing is not zero. Delta V of mixing is not zero. Okay. Based on that, these interactions, depending upon this, there are two types of non-ideal solutions. One is called as positive deviation. They show positive deviation, non-ideal solution. And second one, non-ideal solution which shows negative deviation from Raoult's law. So positive deviation and negative deviation from Raoult's law. Positive and negative deviation from Raoult's law. What does it mean? Positive deviation and negative deviation from Raoult's law. What is Raoult's law? Raoult's law is P01, P1 is equal to P01 x1. This is Raoult's law. P is equal to P0 into x. This is Raoult's law. It shows positive deviation, means P1 is greater than this product. It shows negative deviation, means P1 is less than this product. Okay. Like this is not mentioned, but still this is mathematically whatever I said, it's true. See, what is meant by positive deviation? So here it is said that solvent and solute interaction is weaker. Here solute and solvent interaction is weaker than solute and solvent interaction. In ideal solution, what is expected? All these interactions are equal. Here what is observed? Solute solvent interaction is weaker. So what in case of negative deviation? Here that interaction will be stronger. So solute solvent interaction is stronger. Solute solvent interaction is stronger. Okay. And this interaction is weaker, means bonding between solute and solvent is weak. Solute doesn't bother about solvent, how is it behaving. Okay. So that interaction is very weak. So it shows positive deviation. So what is expected? What about its vapor pressure? So vapor here, if it is ideal, vapor pressure lies in between these two. Here vapor pressure of mixture is greater than vapor pressure of any component, any individual component. Okay, component means what? See, again suppose here we take positive deviation, means interaction is weak. Say one example is ethanol, C2H5OH, and acetone, CH3COCH3, COCH3. Again suppose its vapor pressure is 70, its vapor pressure is 90. So what is found? Vapor pressure of the mixture is greater than vapor pressure of the component, individual component. Vapor pressure will be higher than this range. Okay, means they have no interaction with each other. Okay, and in this case vapor pressure of mixture is less than vapor pressure of individual component. Example given here is acetone and chloroform, CHCl3 and CH3COCH3. See, in acetone this oxygen is negative, carbon is positive. Here this carbon is positive because it is attached to 3-chlorine. Okay, I'll show you that concept here. See, this is CHCl and this is this hydrogen right here. So this is partially positive because Cl is negative, and here this oxygen O double bond C, and it is attached to CH3. So this is partially negative. So solvent and solute, this interaction is stronger in this case, means they are connected to each other. Okay, maybe hydrogen bonding or dipole interaction is there, whatever it is, but the interaction is strong. Interaction is strong in case of negative deviation. Is this clear? So what is meant by positive deviation? Positive deviation, what is given in our textbook? Positive deviation means solute solvent intermolecular interactions are weaker and the vapor pressure of such solution are higher than pure components. Example, ethanol and acetone. And what is negative deviation? Interaction between solvent and solute are stronger than solute and solvent. And what about their vapor pressure? Vapor pressure of these substances, components, are lower than the pure components. Is this clear? Very important point. Ideal solution and non-ideal solution. Ideal solution obeys Raoult's law over entire range of concentration. Delta H of mixing is 0, delta V of mixing is 0. All these three interactions are equivalent. Vapor pressure of mixture is between vapor pressure of two components. Example, benzene and toluene. Non-ideal solution means they do not obey Raoult's law over entire range of concentration. Delta H of mixing is not 0, delta V of mixing is not 0. Means when two solutions are mixed together, two compounds are mixed together, energy change takes place and volume also changes. So based on that, there are two deviations from Raoult's law, positive deviation and negative deviation. In positive deviation, solute-solvent interaction is weaker, and in negative deviation, solute-solvent interaction is stronger. And second point is given, vapor pressure of mixture is greater than vapor pressure of any component. So example is C2H5OH and CH3COCH3. There is no bonding between these two, no attraction, no poles. Okay, so they have very weak interaction. And here vapor pressure of mixture is less than vapor pressure of individual component and CHCl3 and acetone. So I have shown here that carbon is positively charged, oxygen is negatively charged, so plus minus interaction takes place, so that interaction between solute and solvent is stronger, so it shows negative deviation. Okay, that's all ideal and non-ideal solution and Raoult's law. Now next point, that is colligative properties. 4 colligative properties are given in our syllabus, and what are these properties, that we will discuss in the next lecture. Okay, go through this theory, very important. Okay, note this or take a screenshot. This is very important. You will not get such a explanation in the textbook. This is the summary of ideal and non-ideal solution. Very important. Okay, remaining part will continue in the next lecture.